So every time you spend $1, you're sending a message that says, I like what you're doing, thumbs up, full steam ahead. So that's important to be intentional about that and put that dollar to things that you would really like to see continue. So those are some of our leverage points that we're looking at in urban landscapes, are going to be changing what's happening with this waste stream and dealing with it in a way where we begin to have a generative influence on what's going on with soil quality, what's going on with water quality. And so by bioremediating brownfields, over 60% of the brownfields in New York City sit on the waterways, because classically industry likes to set up camp close to where there's a lot of water, because it's usually easier to transport materials or use it for industrial cooling or use it to wash things that have all kinds of chemicals in them and all that kind of great logic behind it. And thereby, when it rains and water lands on that brownfield, it's leachating directly into our waterways. And so it's another measure to alleviate water quality, to have vegetation, to have mushrooms, to have living soil in places where right now we have contaminated soil. And when that rain falls on contaminated soil, it carries those contaminants into the water and into the groundwater. Just living soil alone, in other words, compost, soil that has a diversity of microorganisms and enzymes, does a great deal to lock up and bind up pollutants and makes them unable to transport and migrate through water or through soil. So compost in and of itself is a beginning step to bioremediation. Then if we add to that, if we inoculate that with mushrooms, that's going to do that much more remediation and digestion of pollutant loads. And then on top of that, if we're growing some trees and growing some vegetation, those are going to do even more work. Most of the work of bioremediation is in the root zone of the plant. It's easy to think when you look at a living machine, for instance, that it's the plants that are doing most of that water cleaning. But in fact, it's microorganisms that live around the roots of the plants that are doing most of the cleaning.